Good morning. I'm Mattie Provost, and I'm the Chief Deputy here at the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office. Thank you all for joining us this morning. We wanted to talk about the importance of drinking and driving, or not drinking alcohol and driving. So we wanted to let our Fort Bend constituents know, or anyone that's traveling through Fort Bend, we know that New Year's is coming, New Year's Eve is coming. So please do not drive with any measurable amount of alcohol in your system. The consequences of doing so leads to slow reaction time and reduced concentration, impaired hand and eye coordination, poor judgment and memory loss, increased chances of being involved in an accident, and then life-changing repercussions. There are so many things that you can do in 2025 to not drink and drive, such as having a designated driver or calling for a ride. A lot of employers will even pay for a ride for you. That's how important it is that you not drink and drive while you're on the road. We're gonna have a no refusal weekend starting tomorrow through Sunday. And the reason for this, you may say, well, we continue to talk about and get the message out about not drinking and driving. Yet in 2024, we had 264 arrests for drinking and driving. 28 of those were in the month of December. In 2025, so far this year, we've had 275 arrests, so you can see it's been increasing, and 26 during the month of December, and we yet have New Year's Eve and New Year's Day to go through. So it's really, really important. And when I talk about the life-changing repercussions, our latest case, which was the arrest of Mrs. Lee on Christmas Eve for the death of the entire family with the exception of the 3-year-old. So the mother, the father, the 5-year-old, and the 3-year-old is in the hospital currently having several surgeries. So you may think that we're beating a dead horse, but as you can see from these stats, people still aren't getting the message. So I plead with you to please not get behind your vehicle when you've had any measurable amount of alcohol in your system. I'm going to turn it over to our DA, Fort Bend County DA, Brian Middleton.
Thank you, Chief Provost. We want the community to know in this holiday season, we're not saying don't drink, we're saying be responsible. When you take a drink, it may be the last drink that you ever have, because if you drink and drive and you injure someone or take someone's life, it may be your last drink, it may be your last party, because you may be incarcerated for a very long time. In Fort Bend County, we have the pleasure of having Alison Baimbridge, who is a statewide expert on vehicular crimes. And she's ready and willing to hold people accountable. Recently, Chief Provost was talking about the tragedy in our community where 3 lives, almost a whole family, was lost. And it was an example of when having fun goes too far. That drink is not worth your life or anyone else's. So be responsible and don't drink and drive. And I would like Chief Alison Baimbridge to share with you what our office does in these type of cases and what we're doing in this holiday season. Thank you.
Good morning. I just kind of want to explain to you all the importance of why we have a division that is devoted solely to these kinds of crashes. I work very closely with the agencies in our county with their traffic divisions to make sure that these investigations are completed quickly and fully. It is important to us every single time that there is someone who has made the choice to drink and drive that has resulted in an injury or a death, that we seek justice for the folks on the victim side of those cases. Statistically speaking, when someone who is arrested for DWI, that person has likely driven at least as intoxicated as they were the night of their arrest 88 times prior. In addition to that, when we are taking blood samples, which is our goal, most of our DWI arrests, those blood samples are routinely coming back at 0.20 or above. So you're talking 2.5 or 3 times the legal limit. Breath tests are routinely coming back at a 0.16 or higher. So these are folks that are drinking heavily, that should be no surprise to them that they are then getting arrested for DWI. And when those cases come into our office, we work from the very beginning, and I am on call 24/7. So what happens with our traffic unit here at the Sheriff's Office and other agencies in our county, they will call me, I make scene with them. We begin collecting all the evidence immediately. So we are collecting evidence off of the roadway, from the people involved, from the vehicles, and I think a lot of times folks are very surprised at the amount of information that the computers in your vehicles hold. We regularly upgrade that knowledge, upgrade those databases and the information that we are gathering to make sure that we seek justice. And since coming to Fort Bend in 2020, we have seen an increase in the amount of time that these folks are doing when they are charged with intoxication manslaughter and intoxication assault. The citizens of Fort Bend County do not look kindly on folks that make bad decisions that result in serious injury or death, and we are now seeing that in our trials, in our plea negotiations, and in the cases that come through our county. Unfortunately, with all of this information and all of the options out there, as Chief Provost told you, the numbers are still increasing. So we are trying to do everything we can on our end to explain to the public how important it is to make a choice before you start drinking. Make a plan before you start drinking, because in almost 2026, there is no excuse for consuming alcohol and then operating a motor vehicle. You have so many options. The problem becomes not making a plan at the beginning. And I think, like you guys have heard already, the most recent and vivid example of that is the triple intoxication manslaughter that was just filed. It is incredibly sad. All of these cases are incredibly sad. And it is citizens of our county that are dying on our roadways, and it shouldn't be happening.
Tell them what the punishment range is.
As of September the 1st of 2025, the Texas legislature enacted an enhancement for punishment of intoxication manslaughters that involve multiple victims. So in this case, normally, intoxication manslaughter is a second-degree felony with a punishment range of 2 to 20 years in prison, and up to a $10,000 fine. As of September 1, if multiple folks are killed in the same instance for an intoxicated driver, that increases the punishment range 1 degree to a first-degree offense, making that punishment range now 5 to 99 or life. So it is something that our legislature is hearing us on. We are continuing to work to change some additional punishment ranges and add in some additional penalties or punishments for these types of offenses, just to make sure that our folks in our community stay safe. Do you have any questions?
Will you guys increase deputy presence through the holiday, and if so, approximately how many more people will be working?
We will definitely increase, because it is a no refusal weekend. I can't give you the number of increases, but we will definitely increase our deputies on the street.
For people who may not know what no refusal means, can you explain that?
Yes, I do. So Fort Bend County, we like to say, is a 24/7 no refusal county. Meaning if you are suspected of impaired driving, whether it is drugs or alcohol or a combination, the officers develop probable cause for that arrest. If you refuse to give a blood specimen, we will then execute an affidavit for a search warrant, have a search warrant reviewed by a prosecutor and a judge, and collect that evidence by way of search warrant. No refusal weekends are funded by a grant from TxDOT, and those weekends allow us to have increased personnel present. So from Wednesday to Sunday, we have 2 prosecutors present, an administrative assistant for notarizing the warrants, and a nurse, all at the jail. So it's one centralized location. It is more efficient. It allows the deputies and the officers and the troopers to collect their evidence quicker, and then that gives us better evidence than we might have on another day or another time.
Are there any updates on the triple intoxication manslaughter case? Or do you plan on seeking the maximum for this young lady?
So that investigation is still extremely new and extremely active. So I hesitate to give you any kind of estimation on what we will seek, other than we are going to seek justice. In this case, whatever justice looks like is appropriate, and this is a time for that family to be grieving, and so we like to allow them time to take care of their own family. We have this investigation with us. We are working on it 24/7 with the sheriff's office, actively in finding new witnesses, getting more information, but I will assure you that we will seek justice in the most appropriate way for this case.
Probably want to emphasize the punishment range for multiple.
Yeah, remembering too, and we were talking earlier, we have charged this case, and the first case that we've charged in Fort Bend with the enhanced punishment range. So we do have all the way from 5 to 99 or life to work with in this case, which I think is an extremely fair range of punishment given the amount of destruction Ms. Lee is alleged to have committed.
You said this was the first case?
It's the first case in Fort Bend that we filed, yes. Is that punishment range is just enhanced September the 1st.
One thing I would like to add is there's greater responsibility. And so what I would like for our viewers to understand, if you're a host or you're a business owner, you also have a responsibility to make sure that your guests are not over drinking and driving. So be aware, be alert, and if you see someone too intoxicated to drive, by all means, please stop them. All of these tragedies are avoidable if we just act responsibly. We have to act together as a community to prevent these things from happening. So if you're serving alcohol, be responsible in that effort. Thank you.
We'll take a couple more questions if there are any.
If somebody gives you guys a call and says, hey, I can't drive, I'm impaired, would you pick them up and give them a ride to their destination? Or is that for Uber and Lyft?
Yes, if we got a call and somebody needed a ride, I would try to facilitate that 100%.
And I think too, I know in past years, I think it's AAA, but I'm not exactly sure. They have a program called Tipsy Tow, and if you're within a certain number of miles from a location to where you're trying to go, they tow you for free. Don't quote me on whether that is available this year or not, but I know it's been available in years past. But I mean, you have Lyft and Uber and your friend's couch and just don't leave your house. So I think that everyone's goal, right, is to keep those impaired drivers off the road however they can do that, right?
And also keeping in mind what I said earlier, most employers will give you a free pass to either call a car to pick you up. I know here in Fort Bend County, they've sent out messages to us that if we need a ride, then they will pay for that ride. So really there's no excuse for anyone to get behind the wheel of a car drinking and they've been driving and they've been drinking.
Any other questions?
Thank you so much for coming, we appreciate it.
Thank you.